Dolezine, Dolezine.com. This is kind of a DIY type video to show you what's the components of a computer um, on like the base level. So a lot of people know a lot about this, but I'm just gonna make a video for people who aren't aware and kind of want to know a little bit more about computers, because use them probably all the day, but all the time. But this is kind of a tower PC. You don't look at it all like that. That's a lot of people nowadays. They don't even use towers; they just use laptops. So um, they're pretty much the exact same. It's just the frame. So right here, this can do everything that can do. It's just not as fast and store as much data and all that. So at the core, they're virtually the same thing. So this is the case, and this is all that can do the same as that. Just not because it's got more stuff in it. So it's just your frame. You can build your own PC. You can go to Tiger Direct or places like that. You can buy bare bone kits, they call them. And then if you do this yourself, you'll get it way cheaper, and you can build it yourself and learn experience and all that. So that's your casing is going to be the main thing. Do you want a big thing like that? There's intermediate ones. There's laptops. This motherboard is actually built for a laptop, but this is a customized case that you can put everything in that is nice, and it's not a laptop. And then you'll still hook up your monitor and your and it's on the back. It's got the monitor. It does have an HDMI, two USBs, and there's a couple USBs actually on the front here that you gotta break open, but don't worry about that. And then it's got a 12-volt power. I knew that was gonna happen. Sorry about this. I just didn't. I don't want that open in the background to distract people. Just the basic components. So, yeah. So right here, this is your hard drive. So this right here is 160 gig. This is pretty small. You want at least like a terabyte. And then 1,000 gigabytes is a terabyte. So that might be a little bigger, but nowadays it could probably be this size actually. That they would make that, but they're connected with a cord. That's your SATA cable. You pop that out, or pop it in. It's got like a little L on there, so you can only pop it in the right way. And then these for the orange, black, red, black, yellow. That's 5. That's your power. So this is gonna have to connect to the motherboard. This is pretty dusty, but as you can see, the SATA cable that I unplugged. There's a multiple SATA cables. So then I'm just gonna unplug that to make it a little more easier to see. While I'm doing that, I'm gonna also unpop the power cable. So this is when you store all of your files and pictures and movies, it gets stored onto your hard drive, and then you can actually pop this into another computer, and then if it has the same operating system like Windows 10, it will pick this up and read it if you're transferring it. I actually use these. I put them in these little container cases that then you can use them as like external hard drives. So if you ever heard of external hard drive, that's what people. It's just a hard drive that allows you to access it, easily. So it's got the power and it's got the SATA, and then that plugs into the motherboard. So the motherboard's the whole unit down below. That's your main brain thing of the whole PC. So that's the better the motherboard, the better everything's gonna run. So that's the motherboard gets mounted to the case. So you got to make sure you get a case that's compatible with the motherboard. So on the motherboard, then there's like a CPU. That's like the brain. I guess I kind of explained that wrong, but the CPU, that's kind of what runs everything on the motherboard. So that's got to stay cool. So you have to have a cooling thing to keep that chip running at a temperature where it won't overheat. So once you get a case, you want to get a motherboard that fits the case at the best you can get. There's a bunch of different specs. People can go into that for days, but the main thing is getting good memory or storage. There's now solid state drives or hard drives that don't have any moving parts, so they're less likely to break, and they're a lot smaller. And if you got the cash, you should probably go solid state. But the next thing you just need to know about is these chips right here. So this is your RAM. So this one here is 2 gigabytes, and there's another 2 gigabytes, which is 4, which is not that much, but it's enough for what I was using this for. So there's bigger one. There's all different type sizes of these. I can show you in here. And then these only go in one way. There's little prongs you pull off. And then they go right in. I'm not getting that in right now, but there's another one here behind it. So sometimes they have 2 slots, so you can add more. They might only let me add like 8 total on this motherboard, but so if I got like a 4 one of this and a 4 of that, then I could make it faster. So this helps the speed. So maximize whatever you can on these with the motherboard to get the most speed. These are not, these are different than how you store. This is the RAM, not the hard drive. So the hard drive stores your files, and the RAM, speeds it for you. So this is unplugged right here, and this goes to the fan. So it's a pretty small fan. I don't know if you can see that. Shooting everything out. So there's the fan right here. I was gonna take this and clean this all out. So this can only pretty much be plugged in the fan spot, and there should be a thing, I forget where it is right now. That would be another good note to mark where your fan spots are. Oh, there it is. Yeah, because it's the only spot that it'll fit. So you got to have a fan to keep it cool. Otherwise, if it'll self shut out, but and then it'll get really loud if you don't keep that fan clean. But so you have the case, the motherboard, your hard drive, the RAM, the CPU unit that runs all this, and then the thing to keep that CPU cold. That's pretty much the basics of the components, besides your external plugins, the monitor, the keyboard, the mouse, speakers, microphone. It's another so there's 4 USB ports on the back here. That's right. And then more you can get into on the front. So you can fit everything in here. And then these are the same components of the laptop, except for the monitor you plug it. It's got like a little different connector, which it would be one of these on here, but that's all. you can get a lot more in depth, but that's the components. So yeah, I guess yeah, I did say the power cord right here, the battery bank or whatever. So when you get to something like this down here, this is the power supply. So you know when you get bigger components like this, computers, you're gonna need a good power supply. So that's your power supply down here, and you know you can go all day into that stuff, but then you see how this fan here is bigger. Um, that's where the CPU unit would be underneath on here, and then I got another fan back here. I was gonna put in another fan. More fans, you know, you just want it to be quiet, so as long as them fans aren't being loud. And as you can see here, this is that SATA cable that plugs in the hard drive. So it's the same with the CD player. It had the same ports for the power and then the SATA cable, and then they run in SATA cables run into here. And then I got another hard drive here, another hard drive. See, so it's all that the same stuff in here, just more of it, and then just higher powered. And then this is a big this strap here comes down. It's into the power supply, and that's just bringing your unit all the power and all that stuff. And then you got so the fan's plugged in. You can follow the wires. There's a few more wires that you're gonna have to think of about how that's a fan wire. There's a ribbon cable that's running right here, and what this ribbon cable does, it runs to the front of the monitor. How everything on the front here, it needs to get connected to the motherboard. So that's all that this ribbon cable does. So everything on the front, the power button and all that, to get it, everything used up there can get connected to the motherboard. So there's just a few more things. This is out of the power thing as well, going up. I'm not actually sure what that one is, but it's all the same. So just kind of a little overview. I use a air compressor to dust this off every once in a while. This thing was making a lot of noise. I'm gonna see if I can first try and clean it out, and see if I can get all that dust out of there to make it more quieter. It's starting to get really loud. So I just thought I'd just give people a little overview. I know a lot of people know, but if you don't, I build computers, so I kind of just think, I just overthink of it, and I just think, if you're going to be using computers, you should know the parts that are in them, and, nowadays, I'd be at, like, there's a whole, it's like, you buy it, and then next year it's going to, be out of style, so, you can find all that information online. The RAM, you just want to look up the power supply, the case, the RAM, the motherboard, SSD, memory, or the old school. Look on Craigslist. Look online. But yeah, I just wanted to show people what's in a computer. Dolezine.com. Hit that like, subscribe. Be having random videos here and there. So yeah, make sure you never know what video you might see. We'll teach you next or whatnot. Alright, hope you enjoyed this. Alright.